We are there. Oops. Where'd it go? Expand video. Okay, let's see if it's working. Okay, we're live again in Cairns, day 2, and with us we have, and what's your name, sir?
My name's Brian Brown. And
Brian Brown, not the actor.
no, I'm the original.
Now, can I ask first, what tribe are you from?
Myself, I'm travelling Bunda. My family, we've been adopted to Yidinji as well. And, you know, I'd like to welcome everybody to Yidinji country. And the land we sit on here now is Gimoy.
Gimmoy.
Yeah, Gimoy. That's the original name for Cairns.
Really?
Yeah.
Gimmoy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And are you from here or are you from Cape York?
I live in Cape York. I've been there for the last 22 years, and but a lot of my youth and childhood was spent here and over at Yarrabah, across the range here, and that's where my adoption to the Yidinji people. It started from when I was a child.
When you say adoption, were you actually removed from your parents as a
Yeah,
child?
later in life, I was one of these ones that was taken away. And
Can I ask how old you were then?
oh, geez, I would have been about 8, 9 year old back then.
And was there any warning that they were going to do that, or did they just come?
It was just the policies of those days, the government white policies.
Yeah.
So, and from what we went through and stuff like that, I just sort of hope things get better for my grandchildren.
Can I ask, sorry to interrupt you, but when they took you away, were you still able to see your parents?
No. They sent me south. I first went to Townsville, and then Brisbane, and then my father actually found out that I was in the Salvation Army home down in Riverview, Ipswich, and then.
So they kept moving you about?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
And by yourself, or with you with another group?
No, I was taken from here by myself, but in that boys' home we would have had about something up to about 70, 80 boys.
And all original? All original people?
No, not all Aboriginal. We had white children in there as well, so but it was a pretty tough life in there with them being in that situation, yeah.
So were they kind to you, the people that were looking after you, or did they treat you like?
Nah, I got bad memories of the institutions and stuff like that. But yeah, it's.
How do you process that over time? I mean, because if you have a splinter in your soul, it's very, very difficult to live without, and very hard to remove it as time goes by. How do you process that?
You grow up in those earlier years, you got a big chip on your shoulder, but then when you find my wife, she was more or less the one that put me back.
Healed you?
Yeah. Her spirituality, and I found that then, we all spiritual. Yeah. So, there was a journey back of healing.
Can I ask, there's a lot of people see that there's a drug and alcohol problem amongst Aboriginals. Do you think a lot of that is to try deal with the deep pain from the past?
Well, look, every time I went back down to Brisbane to try and find mates of mine that we made in those homes and stuff like that, they were gone one by one. And today, I don't think I got any of those guys.
You're the last.
Yeah, I'm just virtually about the last. Yeah.
So you have to speak for them.
Yeah, well, they did it hard, but you know, it was a choice that I had to make, where I wasn't going to die like them. So that was my salvation, I suppose, when I met my wife and we got,
Can I ask? When you say it was hard, did they get you to work? Were they using you like workers? Because we know nothing about it, see. So you're like the window to that story.
You got up about 4 in the morning, and then you had different sections where you worked, on the farm or in the workshop, or all over they had different projects and stuff like that, and you worked. You really worked.
So you were like slave labour in a way?
It was child slave labour.
Child slave labour?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned. And that's the way I still see it, and I educated my children with what I went through.
But the people who were doing it to you, they would have thought they were doing the right thing, but
they thought at the time, that they were doing great, but no, they were actually hurting not only our souls but our spirits as well. So, all the compensations that they threw at us over the years didn't mean anything. Once you've been hurt in that sort of situation, and you got to toss up: is that money going to be any good to me? No, it isn't.
You don't fix the soul with money.
No, even a simple sorry would have been sufficient. But they think they fix the situations when they're going to throw all the money at us through government policies and stuff like that. We don't have no rights, because we still, as Aboriginal people, we still flora and fauna, and that law was brought in through the English monarchy. So when is that ever going to change?
This is why you got offended by our red flag?
Yeah, I truly did. Because
we apologise for that.
You see that flag there?
Yeah.
Two of my grandfathers were light horsemen.
Wow.
They went to war. They come back. Two of my uncles served in Korea and in New Guinea. They come back and they were still treated like they didn't exist.
Like second class, third class
Exactly.
citizens.
Yeah.
They're actually in the Light Horsemen.
Yeah.
And then back here in Australia, they took you away from your family.
I've got, my brother's got one set of medals from our biological grandfather, and the other grandfather, who was his brother, I've got those medals at home. So, that's the sort of people that our people were.
So they just used you, send you to war, use you, come back, treat you like shit.
Yeah. And, I think they're heroes.
They are heroes.
But it was just the way...
You're fighting for a country that's oppressing them.
Yeah, exactly. They came back and they were treated worse than cattle.
Can I ask, at the moment, there's a lot of us feel that our freedoms have been taken away, which is waking us up to the fact, for me, as I'm interviewing people, and especially lawmen and other Indigenous leaders, that I've been a part of the oppression without even knowing it. And I've been a part of the oppression through ignorance.
Yeah.
They didn't teach me anything in school, but that's not really an excuse. And
now,
the question is, if we move forward to create a better Australia, what do the Indigenous people need to start healing the great rift that's there, before we even talk about the other rift, the current one?
We need the rights to walk and talk to talk on our own countries, and recognition of every different country that exists on this island, this continent. You know, there's not a square inch of this country that was not, it was not uninhabited. That's where, you know, the Terry Nulliers came in, and that was just a simple stroke of the pen, and it has never been rectified. And that's the things that we got to carry on ourselves. So what do we do for our grandchildren? We just got to teach them to believe in their own spirituality.
Are you a teacher of that now?
I teach my own grandchildren. I teach young people. You know, the same thing. You know, you got to walk with a bit of pride, but also remember where you come from. Always. You know, in some parts, you know, there's, I reckon there's, you know, an imbalance between, you know, working class, both black and white here in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all getting screwed.
Yeah.
Sorry for the language.
No, you can say stuff like that on this one.
Yeah.
Screwed. See.
Yeah. But
Can I ask? There's two other questions. One is, what was it like? Did you finally get to meet your mother again?
yeah, before she passed away, yeah. I spent time with her, and you know, but then in that process of meeting my wife, that was the greatest, greatest thing that ever happened. So, you know, I had elders of this country here, and wherever I travelled, that's where I sit first, there with my elders. You know, no matter what country I go to, and you know, you travel around the country and you know what spirituality is, and you know, that's how we got to walk.
The other question to ask is, we've travelled some really harsh country, like desert country,
Yeah.
and then we travel this country, which is lush.
Mm.
If people from the desert country came to visit you in this country, how did you get them to leave and go back?
One thing with Aboriginality is you could be sitting out there in the desert with one tree and one little water hole out there. That's where you belong. You come away from there, but you always return there. And that's the same here. If we go out to their country, we always come back home. So that's where the reference boomerang come in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we boomerang back to where we come from.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how we are.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Well, I really respect you for coming on anyway. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
because I know you were angry before. We're really sorry.
Yeah,
'Cause
about
to
that
us,
flag.
the flag to us was just, I didn't know about the flag until
Yeah.
all this trouble started.
Yeah.
And then everyone started flying it, because I think the red was like a
Yeah.
colour of revolution. But we
Yeah.
actually don't know the history of it.
Yeah, well,
So you
I'd
have
like
to
to
apologise for that.
I'd like to apologise to these folks here because I got a little bit heated under the collar. So, but you know,
That volcano inside you that got heated is probably what's kept you going. Uh-huh.
oh dear, it'd probably give me a heart attack one day. But yeah, I thank you for this,
Oh, I thank you. I really thank you.
and
Yeah.
you just created a bit more understanding where I stand.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we all need,
Yeah.
to understand each other
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
walk the walk. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And become one people eventually.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Be as one. Thank you, bro.
No
Yeah.
worries. Peace be with you, okay?
Sorry, everybody, for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm vaccinated. We used